I held her through childhood asthma, sold my mother's pearls to pay her divorce lawyer, even gave her the bigger bedroom, said she needed space to heal. So when she stood beside the mayor, mic in hand, hair curled just right, I still thought maybe I misunderstood. Then the projector whirred. There I was, juggling groceries, squinting at a form she slid across the table, signing, smiling. Emily's voice floated over the speakers. She thought it was for the utility auto pay. My jaw clenched, fingers iced over the program in my lap. A Gen Z intern snorted behind me. Classic boomer. But Emily forgot two things. One, our Nest Cam Records audio. Two, that mayor? I taught him Shakespeare junior year. The screen flickered again. Her voice, clear this time. Once it's notarized, we sell the house. That's when I pressed play on my phone, and the whole room finally saw her. Back then, things felt ordinary, not perfect, but steady, comfortable in the way old slippers mold to your feet. Emily had moved back in after her second divorce. Just for a few months, she said. That turned into 3 years. We found our rhythm again. Morning walks, grocery trips, where she insisted on pushing the cart. She even got me to join her Tai Chi class at the community center, said it was good for my knees and her peace of mind. Sometimes I'd catch her watching me from the porch while I pruned the roses. Not fondly, not coldly, just assessing. The look passed quickly, like a cloud, but it stayed with me. Mom, she'd say, you don't have to do everything. Let me handle things now. And I wanted to believe her. After all she'd endured, 2 divorces, a miscarriage, the layoff, I thought maybe this was her way of rebuilding. So when she offered to manage the bills, I said yes. She mentioned a shared spreadsheet. I never asked to see it. She blamed the bank for a late fee. I nodded. She said the power company made a clerical error. I believed her, because that's what mothers do. We trust, even when something itches at the back of the mind. Still, one night, I found an unopened envelope from the utility company stuffed behind the recycling bin. When I asked her, she smiled like I was being silly. Already handled, she said, pressing the tea kettle on. The house was warm. The lights were on. Emily was humming something soft in the kitchen. So I swallowed the doubt, but deep down, something old and quiet inside me whispered, this piece wasn't built to last. When trust becomes routine and routine becomes risk. It started small. Emily began streamlining things, as she called it. She suggested consolidating our accounts. Easier for tax season, she said. I hesitated. She smiled. Just a shared dashboard, Mom. I'll handle the busy work. You've done enough. And honestly, it felt like relief. After all, isn't that what aging gracefully means? Letting someone help? So I gave her access to the credit cards, the utilities, even the checkbook. She ordered new cards with both our names. I didn't question it. She set up automatic bill pay. I thought, how modern of her. She showed me the new banking app, then offered to manage the password. You don't need the stress, she said. Then came Tuesday. I was buying groceries. The card declined. The clerk tried again. Still declined. I chuckled nervously. My daughter just moved things around. It's probably a hiccup. That night, I asked her about it. She didn't even look up. Bank probably flagged something weird, she said, still typing. I'll fix it. You're fine. No apology, no concern, just dismissal. That's when something in me shifted. I started watching, not her behavior, but mine. The way I paused before asking questions, the way my voice softened when I asked, is this okay to spend? The way I felt guilty for opening the mail. She wasn't raising her voice. She didn't need to. Every, don't worry about it, Mom, came with a smile. But each one felt like a door quietly closing behind me. Sometimes the moment you let your guard down is the one they've been waiting for. The graduation party was 3 days away. Emily had been buzzing like a wedding planner on caffeine, coordinating caterers, fixing the banner, even picking my outfit. "Just relax, Mom," she kept saying. "You've done enough." I was in the kitchen rolling napkins when she walked in with a stack of papers. "Quick thing," she said, setting them down between the serving trays. "Just need your signature. Legal formality for the venue. Something about liability coverage." I wiped my hands on a dish towel. "Liability? Yeah, you're listed as host since it's your house. Just standard boilerplate." Her voice was breezy, too breezy. I squinted at the page. No venue name, no party date, just dense language and a spot for my initials on every page. She tapped the pen against the paper. "Mom, the cupcakes are melting. Please?" So I signed, all of it, while the oven timer beeped and the florist called twice. She kissed my cheek. "You're the best," she said. "I promise this'll make things easier." I wanted to ask, easier for who? But I didn't, because she looked so happy, so in control. And somewhere, under the hum of the dishwasher, I heard myself say, "Just be grateful. She's helping." I folded the towel, went back to the napkins. But later that night, as I replayed it in my head, I realized she never actually said what the papers were for. Not really, when truth gets exposed, but only to the one person it matters most to. The new community center was packed. Folding chairs lined the polished floors. A long table of fruit trays, cupcakes, and mini quiches stretched along the back wall. The banner read, "Celebrating New Beginnings," in honor of Margaret Carter. I stood near the podium, half listening to a woman from the city council list my years of dedication. Emily stood beside me, smiling like she'd won something. Then she tapped the mic. "Before Mom says a few words," she said, "we just want to share a little surprise. Something sweet." The lights dimmed. A projector buzzed to life. At first, I thought it was a slideshow. Old photos, maybe. Childhood memories. But then I saw it. Footage, grainy, black and white, from our hallway security camera. There I was, apron on, pen in hand, signing something over the kitchen counter. And beside me, Emily, holding the papers, smiling. No audio, just her lips moving, my nodding, her hand pointing to where I should initial. Across the room, a low murmur rippled through the audience. Emily laughed into the mic. "Mom's always so trusting," she said. "Good thing we had it on camera, huh?" A few people chuckled. Most didn't. I felt the heat rise behind my ears, not because I didn't remember, but because I did, and I knew exactly what I'd signed. The audience didn't know the document transferred $10,000 from my account under her name. They didn't see the fine print. They didn't feel the chill that ran through me, watching my own face on that screen. I stood there, stone still. Then I smiled, a small one, tight. Applause scattered politely. Cameras flashed, and I turned to Emily and said softly, "I'll be right back." She didn't flinch, but when I left the room, I wasn't heading for the restroom. I was heading for answers. The cruelest betrayals don't scream, they whisper. I didn't cry, not in the hallway, not in the bathroom, not even when I pressed my palm flat against the cold tile wall and whispered, "What did I miss?" Because that was the real question, wasn't it? Not what she did, but what I allowed. I'd always prided myself on being sharp, independent, the one who kept the family afloat when her father left, when bills piled up, when Emily needed braces, or college books, or rent money after the first divorce. So how did I get here? Duped, on camera, applauded for it. I sat on the edge of a bench outside the utility closet where no one could find me. Inside my purse, mints, a folded grocery list, and 3 warning letters from the credit union I'd shoved in a drawer. I'd told myself they were clerical errors, same way I'd ignored the bank notifications she marked as spam, same way I'd explained away the disappearing emails, must have archived by accident. But now, every missing message felt intentional. Every login issue, every "don't worry, I've got it," like bricks in a quiet, careful wall I'd helped her build around me. And I remembered the look she gave me during that signing. The softness wasn't love. It was certainty. She knew I wouldn't question her, and she was right. Until now. I stood up, walked back toward the main hall, but turned left, toward the records office instead, because I needed to see it. All of it. Every transaction, every date, every digital trail she thought I'd never follow. Some lies dissolve in daylight. Others need a printer and a password reset. The records office was quiet, just the hum of a copier and a flickering exit sign. The receptionist looked up. "Just need some financial reports," I said. "Old grant paperwork, personal archive." She handed me the login sheet. I entered the credentials I hadn't used in months. Password hint, Emily's middle name. I smiled, tight. The dashboard opened. At first, it looked normal, but the transactions told a different story. Multiple transfers to an account under EL Consulting. Amounts just under reporting thresholds. $4,950, $600, $3,800. Descriptions vague. Vendor reimbursement. Event deposit. I clicked through every line, downloaded PDFs, printed everything, one by one. The sound of each page sliding out felt like breath returning to my lungs. Back home, I pulled the drawer Emily never touched, found the original warning letters, checked the postmarks. She'd told me the bank made a mistake. She hadn't said the mistake was me. I looked at the stack building beside me, then opened her old college laptop, the one she thought I couldn't figure out. The password was still the dog's name. In her email drafts, a templated apology for misunderstanding financial terms, a half-finished PR blurb for her new business venture, helping seniors simplify estate management. I read it twice, and that's when I stopped shaking, because now I had what she didn't. I had time, I had receipts, and I had a name with weight in this town. She wanted silence. She was about to learn what silence sounds like when it starts to echo back. Sometimes the best revenge wears the same smile they used on you. The next morning, Emily knocked on my door with a latte and her sweetest voice. "Mom, everyone loved your speech yesterday. Want to record a little thank you video for the center's Facebook page?" I nodded slowly. "Of course, sweetheart. Let's make it nice." She set up her phone on a little tripod, adjusted the angle. "Just say whatever comes naturally," she said, "but maybe mention how helpful I've been. People love that." I folded my hands in my lap, smiled gently at the camera. "Yesterday was humbling," I began. "I've learned a lot about trust and clarity." She watched from the corner, arms crossed, head tilted, like a director watching her star. The moment we finished, she beamed. "I'll edit and post later. This'll clean everything up." I nodded again. And later that night, when she stepped out for dinner, I took the unedited video off her phone. Every word, every prompt, every pause she coached. Because if she wanted to play public image, I was ready to give her one. Some stories don't need to be shouted. They just need to be seen. I didn't post the clip myself. I sent it, unedited, to Marjorie. Marjorie ran the local seniors newsletter, printed in black and white, folded into thirds, and dropped into mailboxes every Friday. She was also the first person Emily had ever lied to, back in 9th grade, about skipping chorus practice. Marjorie remembered. The video went out Monday morning. By noon, it had made its way to the center's Facebook page with a quiet caption, "Elder Trust and Digital Dependency, a Personal Reflection." No hashtags, no names, no direct call-outs, just Margaret Carter's voice, shaky but firm, saying, "I've learned a lot about trust and clarity." The comments started slowly. "Is this about Emily? Did something happen with the finances? Wait, wasn't she handling the budget for the new senior outreach program?" By 4 p.m., someone shared screenshots from a now-deleted business site. EL Consulting. By 6, the community board called a vote to pause disbursement of center funds pending review. I didn't gloat. I made tea. I answered 2 calls and ignored 6. On the 7th, it was Emily. "Mom, what is happening?" Her voice was tight, controlled, like someone still pretending the steering wheel worked. I let her speak for 2 minutes. She explained the business name, said she was helping people, said I misunderstood, said the clip was out of context. Then, I said, "You'll want to post the full version, the one where you coached my lines, the one with your hands in frame." Silence, then a long exhale. "You recorded me?" "No," I said. "You did." I ended the call, not in anger, but in clarity. And later that week, when the center invited me to speak again, this time at their fraud awareness event, I smiled, tucked the video drive back into my purse, and said, "Only if I can bring a visual aid." Emily showed up at my door the next morning. No makeup, no filters, just red-rimmed eyes and a trembling voice behind a Starbucks cup. "I didn't know it would go that far," she said, barely above a whisper. I let her in, not because I owed her kindness, but because I needed to see if there was anything real left in her. She sat where her father used to, same chair, same crossed arms, only now the posture looked smaller, weaker. "They froze everything," she said. "Donors pulled out. Dad's name is Mud, and mine." She looked down at her nails, chipped and shaking. "They're calling me a fraud. I might lose my license." I didn't gloat. I didn't lecture. I handed her the envelope. Inside, a printout of every forged document, every transaction, every timestamp, signed by Tom, witnessed by Emily, filed illegally. "You didn't just lie to me," I said. "You gambled my silence." She opened her mouth, closed it. Then something broke in her face, like the last thread holding it all together. I stood. "I kept your secret long enough," I said. "You asked for loyalty. I gave you 30 years. She didn't follow me to the door, didn't cry, didn't beg. She just sat there, like a house with no foundation left. And before I left the room, I turned back and said what I should have said years ago. You were never the trap. I was just the one who kept resetting it." The fallout didn't end at the dinner table. The board dissolved the charity within the week. Donors pulled out. Emily's name, once printed on gala invitations and glossy brochures, was now trending on Twitter next to the word fraud. She issued a statement, blamed stress, then blamed me. But the footage spoke louder than her press release. As for me, I moved back into the old house, the one with the crooked porch swing and the lilac bush out front. I repainted the kitchen cabinets, something I'd put off for years, not because I couldn't, but because I was always fixing someone else's mess. I started baking again, just small things, blueberry scones, lemon bread, things that smelled like memory. People ask if I regret exposing her, if it broke our family. Truth, the fracture was already there. All I did was stop covering it with throw pillows and polite smiles. I still get mail addressed to Mrs. Carter. I don't correct it, because in all the ways that matter, I still am. And when the wind picks up in the backyard, I swear I can hear Richard's laugh, faint, like it's tucked somewhere between the swing chains and the old garden hose. But that's not the twist. The twist is this. Emily's daughter, my granddaughter, wrote me a letter last week. She said, "Grandma, I saw everything, and I believe you." I haven't written back yet, but I will, because sometimes the loudest vindication doesn't come from a courtroom or a headline. It comes in a child's handwriting and a door that's quietly beginning to reopen. Some doors don't slam shut. They stay slightly open, just enough to hear the draft, just enough to wonder if things could have been different, if one sentence, one moment could have changed everything. I don't check her page anymore, but every now and then her name pops up when I type S into the search bar. Some wounds don't bleed, they echo. I've made peace with not getting an apology, but I haven't made peace with how easily she rewrote our story. So I wrote mine, not for revenge, not even for closure, just to remind myself that my silence was never weakness. It was strategy, it was love, it was survival. Have you ever kept quiet, not because you had nothing to say, but because no one was ready to hear it? Drop A if you've carried that silence, or share this with someone still waiting to be heard. Because sometimes healing doesn't sound like a scream, it sounds like letting go.